We have been waiting for a start a while on this 8th race, and you know, this always happens with 8s. You wait and you wait and you wait.
Attention! Go!
Thank goodness for that. Both 8s going off. Brookes will want to absolutely do these Canadians in this first bit of sprint to the end of the island, won't they? They want to take everything they can in this first part of the race and just show the Canadians who's boss.
That is a proper Brookes V12 engine that is revving up to maximum at the moment. We can see that they are thundering out of the blocks. Oxford Brookes so dominant across UK rowing, so dominant now across Europe as well. And here they are taking on some of the finest international crews. This, the best crew that Canada has to offer outside of their Olympic 8.
That is a start and a half from the Oxford Brookes crew. They have really taken the race to the Canadians. And the Canadians rowing long, rowing smooth. I like what they're doing technically. Nice, easy rhythm that the Canadians have got. I love the attitude of their coach, Katie Steenman, who's the sister of Mitchell Steenman. Of course, Katie married to that great French rower, Julien Bain, and she coaches this crew. She says her aim is to create a fun environment where my athletes can row at their best and produce their best performance. And a lot of coaches would do to take heed of Katie Steenman's advice there. In fact, Fergus, I did just want to say there's a couple of Canadians, the 2 women just right up, one from the bows, McKenna Simpson, and at 6, the big 6 woman, Brenna Randall. They are both Canadians in this boat. How does that happen?
Well, I think programmes like Oxford Brookes offer phenomenal opportunities just to take your rowing to another level. And I think whilst we so often see UK students going out to the United States, we're now seeing Americans, Dutch students, Canadians now coming over because they know that Oxford Brookes is where you come to win. It's like Leander Club now. It's where you want to come and win Henley medals, win under 23 World Championships and go on to develop yourself for the next level beyond that.
Yeah, I don't think enough people in the UK know that Brookes is a sensational rowing university. They still think of Oxford and Cambridge, and that's the best. I think the wider public needs to know, and these women are part of the story, that Oxford Brookes is a phenomenal success story. That the university has done so well in both men's and women's eights, and they are, as you say, an absolute powerhouse.
Particularly in the past couple of years, you know, I was talking to Hugh Gulliver after last year's Henley, and he was saying after winning the Island Challenge Cup, I was saying to him, well, what's next? And he said, well, it's the Remenham. And he said, well, we're going to race the Remenham in 2024. So here they are. They put their money where their mouth is, Oxford Brookes. And I think we perhaps thought, well, maybe we get through a round or two, they'll face a big international opponent. Well, here is that big international opponent. Here's the Canadian under 23 8, and they are just pulling away from them, making light work of them.
5 of this Brookes crew won the Island Challenge Cup for University 8s, and they're really rowing up. So we're now looking at the Canadian crew. And yeah, fantastic shot there from the cameras. Ella Souza, the 20-year-old in the stroke seat from the University of Victoria on the west coast. Alex Pidgeon from the University of Tennessee. She's come back into the Canadian team after the Tennessee. In the 6th woman, Tegan Orth, is from the University of Virginia. So this crew have really come back after the NCAAs, which are the Women's College Championships in America, and that's the time you can form an under-23 crew.
Yeah, the difference is though Oxford Brookes coming here as one of the top performers, well, the top performers at Brookes Regatta, the UK's University Championships, and in that time that they've spent together, they've won at the Hollenbecker, they've won at Ghent on the Saturday, and just continued that momentum from Brookes Regatta. So whereas perhaps these individual athletes lost that momentum with their universities in the United States or wherever they were studying, Oxford Brookes have just been able to power on, whilst this Canadian 8 have just had to come together and start a brand new project. And that time together in rowing is so important, and Oxford Brookes are showing that at the moment.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to ask you, the shape of the blades. Oxford Brookes are rowing with those fat smoothies, and if we have a look at the blades, they're a different shape to the Canadian blades. So there we see the fatter kind of blades. What's the deal with them, Fergus?
Well, I think it comes down to the style of rowing that the coach is trying to implement, how much you're wanting to grip up at the front end, and also about the drive phase in the water. So it'll come down to how the coach wants to shape the crew, but also there'll be some athlete preference worked into that as well. But we see the blade type from Concept 2, this one in particular with Oxford Brookes, and it's a real favourite for that club.
It absolutely is. You see the men's crews rowing in it. So there's the two crews. Marks out of 10 for the Oxford Brookes row so far, Fergus?
Probably getting close to about an 8 or a 9.
Yeah, I'd say definitely a 9. The way they went off the start, I think, was a 10, and they've gone into a decent 9. I don't think they're absolutely, you know, going hell for leather. They've got that margin on the under-23s. They're still, you know, mid-30s, still snappy on the catch. The Canadians are harrying them. I think they feel confident. You see those blades, they are a different shape, aren't they? And look well sinked in. They haven't panicked yet, the Canadians, but there is only about 400 metres to go.
Yeah, Crossy, I don't think I can stress at the moment how impressive this is from the Brookes crew. 3 of this Canadian 8 won bronze at the under-23s last year. They know how to win on the international stage. They know how to form good crews. But Oxford Brookes, their women over the past couple of years have been sensational. We saw their men step up and win the Remenham Challenge Cup just a few years ago. An incredible performance from a student outfit. And now we're seeing their women start to do the same thing, rise to that same level that their men. The bar that their men have set has been so high, and their women have one just as high.
As Phelpsy, the umpire there, just putting his white flag, tell Brookes to get over a bit to, that's the left as you're watching the screen, the Buckinghamshire bank, which I think the cocks in that boat, Beatrice Argyle, swiftly obeyed. But a shout out for Chris Tebb, who I think is the coach of this crew, former Brookes Henley winner, and I think coach the under-23. He's done a great job with this crew.
Yeah, he absolutely has. I think all of the coaches there at Brookes, again, we talked about breeding success, and I think particularly what they've done, I think since 2015, we've really seen Brookes step up across the student events at Henley Royal. Obviously a huge amount of success before that, but actually I think that 2014 win they had in the Temple really set them up.
Look at that boat, that looks a little on the big side for these women, that boat. Just as I saw it there, I thought, wow, that's quite a big boat. I wonder just kind of what, so obviously they've got dedicated boats for the women athletes. Canadians have done really well to come back. Sorry to cut across you there, Fergus, but they are coming into this race. Brookes haven't done their sprint. They're going to keep that constant pace, and Canada have done a sprint, so they are moving up the Brookes boat. But Oxford Brookes University win that heat of the Remenham Challenge Cup by, what is it, 2/3 of a length from the Canadian under-23 crew rowing Canada. Confirmation there on your screen.